Louis! At last, there you are.
Mother, wait,
Come, we have to be quick.
No, wait, Mother,
Time is running out, Louis. First, we must...
No! That's enough. I won't go a step further unless you explain to me what is going on here. I'm begging you. Talk to me.
You must trust me, my son. You are not ready yet.
You're the one who should trust me. Tell me what's happening.
You would never believe me.
I came all the way here for you. Now I've found you. I'm ready, Mother.
If only... Louis, I have always taught you to keep your mind open and rational. I know you are going to find this hard to believe, but what I am going to reveal to you is entirely true. Many years ago, I found out that demons really do live among us.
I beg your pardon?
And that they can influence our thoughts.
Mother, listen to yourself. I know you're exhausted, but for crying out loud, listen to what you're saying. Demons? What next? An ancient monster with a head like an octopus? What do your demons look like? Have they got horns and a pointed tail?
No, these are not creatures with billy goat's legs. Forget your Christian folklore. Imagine them more as parasitic spirits. They possess their hosts and direct them from inside.
Parasitic spirits?
Yes, they are capable of going from one body to another as they see fit. And 2 of them are present on this island.
Right, so let me guess. Lord Mortimer and Sir Gregory, right?
You felt it too?
No, even if Home does look the part. But I don't know who else could do it, given that we're on their territory.
Many years ago, well before you were born, I crossed paths with one of them. Since then, I've spent my life trying to find it again. When we recovered the Alizif, I was persuaded that von Burchard was working for this demon in one way or another. But I thought he would hand the book to a middleman during this conference. That's where I made an error that could well turn out to be fatal. The one who Burchard was meant to give the book to was none other than the demon in person, Mortimer. Not to mention that Home had sent Volner to get it for him.
Home and Mortimer are demons?
They both seem to disagree about many things, but I'll admit I never knew exactly why. There are many of them, Louis, not just those 2.
Mother, have you any proof to support any of this?
Of course, but you do too. You had everything laid out in front of you. Didn't you notice anything?
I went beyond the nightmare, Mother.
You understood the Masonic date.
1191.
Of course! It was during that siege that the demon took possession of Sir Mortimer. They spent a whole night in conversation until the early hours of the morning. Mortimer had passed the test. He had charmed the demon, and so it chose him to be its host for centuries to come. But tell me, did you find his secret study?
I did indeed.
Did you see his maps of the world?
He has contacts the world over.
Yes, I've been developing the Golden Order across the world for many years, and I've never seen anyone with such influence. It's simply inhuman.
Well, those property deeds across the world, all signed by the same hand, and over several centuries.
I am proud of you, Louis.
I found your notes, written in lemon juice.
Where all eyes size you up. At one stage, I was so afraid of losing my mind that I noted everything down. Congratulations, Louis. Wait, please tell me you didn't open Pandora's box.
The urn? Yes, I did. Why?
Too bad. We'll deal with it later.
I must admit, I found it difficult to understand how and why Mortimer didn't have a place in history.
On the continent, Mortimer and Home are mere dandies who organize society balls. History forgets them with a disconcerting facility. No one speaks about them, and yet they whisper in the ears of kings and presidents.
You mean the conference?
How can you explain that someone manages to bring together so many important figures without anyone knowing?
And without any security or personnel.
Louis, I am proud of you. You came all this way. You found me. You have surpassed me.
You taught me everything I know. Right. How did it all begin?
I saw him.
What do you mean you saw him?
I was 20 years old. I was young and carefree. I traveled the world in search of adventure. In the Persian Gulf, we came across an ancient grimoire that became unlocked. Composed of 7 parts, each one was a book in itself, set in a sort of metal armor that structured the whole thing. When all the volumes were brought together, they formed a single book. On my return to Paris, I set to studying these pages. I spent all my days and nights studying them.
Oh, I can imagine you doing that.
But the writing was in a language I had never seen before, developed well before Sumerian, in my opinion. So I got the idea to form a small occult circle composed of all the major names in the occult world to see if anyone else could crack it.
And you found no one.
And I found someone, Louis. I found him. Or rather, he found me. He was young, charismatic. He was flamboyant.
You mean Mortimer?
He was a veritable mine of knowledge. I showed him the book, and he was able to decipher a few passages. We spent several months together studying the pages.
He was already old in those days, wasn't he? So you recognized him when you arrived on the island, right?
No, he wasn't in that body. But I know it was him. I swear it was him. The way he spoke, his posture, a few of his intonations, his mannerisms.
Wait a minute. You were talking about 60 years ago. I've lost the thread.
Yes, sorry. He helped me understand certain passages until I realized that he only translated a few parts for me. But I had aroused his interest. It was too late.
How so?
I mean to say he manipulated me. He used me, and in the end, he stole the book with all its secrets.
Did he ever go to your place?
Not once. At least I don't think so. But before disappearing, he proposed a pact between us. He proposed that I follow him and let him teach me, allow him to bring me up.
And you refused, of course.
Why, naturally, Louis. You don't make deals with the devil. After that, I spent my whole life looking for him. 3 years later, in Berlin, I just missed him. In London, I lost 6 members of the order in a chase. In 1741, in Tunisia, I found a sect of fanatics who had crossed paths with him once. 1741, in Poland. 1749, in India.
8 years ago in Venice.
We agreed never to speak about what happened in Venice, Louis.
You agreed, and that was before you spoke to me about demons. Wait, the baby we delivered, you and me, that night in Venice, did he have anything to do with Lord Mortimer?
The child was his son.
We stole his son? Are you insane? I always thought we took him to save him.
That was the case. It was precisely to save him from his father.
Need I remind you the mother died during childbirth? What became of the child?
Later. For the moment, that is not the key issue here. Once we found the Al-Azif in Paris, I followed von Borchart's trail here. I didn't think it would lead me straight to the demon. It was careless of me. He toyed with me for a few days, until I caught on, until I saw him as he was. But he had no intention of letting me leave. We are all his pawns, Louis, and if we don't want to spend the rest of our lives turning round in circles here, we must absolutely get off this island. All right, can we move on?
Wait a minute, one last thing. What did you negotiate about the Al-Azif with Volner?
Absolutely nothing. I managed to pull the wool over his eyes until I found a way to flee.
I want to know what happened with Elizabeth Adams.
Louis, we haven't time for those details.
I'm sorry, Mother, but I want to know.
She was one of the receptacles for these monsters. I met her parents when she was born. One of the demons got inside her. The demon used her to spy on her father, John Adams. He is one of the founding fathers and vice president of the United States, you know.
Mortimer possessed her?
No, I don't think it was Mortimer. Her father, John Adams, hired me to tend to her, but the evil in her was too deep. In spite of the various treatments I tried on her, I never succeeded in getting it out of her. It's not something I'm proud of, Louis, but I had to try everything.
Do you know who killed her?
Absolutely not.
I want to know what happened between you and Emily's sister.
Great responsibility often brings difficult choices, Louis. That's all you need to know.
Mother, I won't take a step further if you don't answer me.
You dare blackmail me?
I'm listening.
All right, I used her. So there you are. Happy now? We had the Al-Azif, and I didn't think we would be able to escape with it. In order to ensure that the book did not fall into their hands, or that one of them couldn't read in us where we had hidden it, I asked Emily to...
It's Emma.
Yes, or rather for me, it was Emily. So I asked Emma to hide it without anyone seeing, and then I disposed of her. I am sorry for her, but she was part of the Golden Order, Louis. She knew the rules when she joined.
What was going on with the cannons in Tuscany?
It was nothing.
Since when does the Order finance wars?
The cannons for that Bonaparte fellow? Listen, once in the lion's den, I did whatever I could to appear legitimate. So yes, I pretended to be interested in Mortimer's project about a young military man who was seeking funding for a foundry in Tuscany. Between you and me, if buying China would have enabled me to escape, I would have signed without hesitation.
Samuel Ritter du Choix, you wanted to send me a letter about Godoy.
I wanted you to run a check on Duke Manuel, but frankly, it doesn't really matter anymore now. Godoy is just a pawn like the others. He is not the one I was looking for.
You know, I found your package under a wharf plank.
Thanks for not touching it.
On the evening of my arrival, Cardinal Piaggi came looking for you. He was determined to give you a letter.
More of his lists. Louis, I think I know what's in that letter, and I beseech you to believe that it is the least of our worries. We can sort that out later.
Are you going to tell me what happened to your hand?
Better than that. I shall show you.
Good. I think that's about right. We shall speak about it once we get back to France.
Great actions for humanity have been decided by demons for centuries, Louis. They are playing with our destiny. We are their slaves. And it's time for it to stop. By the way, what was Mortimer's project at this conference?
He wants the United States to occupy all the North American territory. France should recover Louisiana and give it to the United States. In that case, the Americans would just have to push west to chase the Spanish from the continent once and for all.
And as Mortimer controls Washington, you may just as well say that it will put him at the head of a world superpower. We should do our utmost to put a stop to Mortimer's plans. But for the time being, there are more pressing matters.
Are you going to tell me why we're here?
There. That's why we are here.
Reassure me, we aren't going to have to force that one, are we?
I don't think we're even capable of doing it. You're going to have to find a way to open it.
Why, of course. And what's inside?
Something to vanquish them with?
Perfect. So, how does it open?
We'll need several keys. I found a note from the architect who conceived the mechanism in Mortimer's secret study. We have to first gather 5 objects before we try anything.
Are the 5 objects the keys?
Exactly. We have the Clement III cross, the nails, the Gutenberg Bible, the exegesis of Judas, an armillary sphere, and all we need to match up the dates between the different calendars.
Why a cross?
Well, I haven't the foggiest idea, but it just so happens that's what you are going to use to activate the mechanism. I found the one Mortimer kept. It belonged to Cardinal Guibert, better known by the name of Pope Clement III.
Perfect. Where is it?
Unfortunately, I've lost it. When I lost my hand, I went dashing out, and it must have fallen from my pocket.
Remember, Mother. I'm certain you can remember.
Let me think.
You were running.
I was bleeding to death.
You remember the pain.
I thought I was going to faint. Yes, I remember. I don't think it can be far, can it?
Would you have lost it outside?
No, I don't think so. It must be in the area. I don't remember going up with it.
Perfect. I'll search the crypt before leaving. Some nails?
Don't ask me. I'm not the one who made the mechanism, you know. When I arrived, there were already a few of them inserted, so I didn't have to worry about those. On the other hand, I remember seeing some in Mortimer's secret study, behind his nightmare.
And a golden cup? Yes. Yes, I saw them too.
Perfect. It will be easy for you to find them then. You need 3 of them.
Very well.
You remember what to do about the rollers. 1191 to enter, and 6466 to exit.
Of course. An exegesis. Anything else?
Did you manage to vanquish the Medusa?
To open the chimney? Yes, absolutely.
So you've already come across it. It's the Bible of Judas that is exposed in the secret room behind the chimney.
Why do they call it an exegesis?
Because that's what it is, and not an apocryphal Bible, strictly speaking. It's the study of a text with a summary, not an actual Bible. Anyway, well done for the Gorgon. You did well. You didn't get tricked by the light bouncing back.
Thanks. Do you think I can take it safely?
We haven't got a choice, Louis. Without it, we won't be able to work out this cursed mechanism.
This is the book in which you left your correspondence with Duchess Hillsborough, isn't it?
That's right.
You still believe it's in the tower room, don't you?
I don't know. There is only one way to find out, though.
Right. I shall go and see. There's one in the portrait gallery.
Yes, but it's enormous. If you don't want to have to go back and forth several times, then I suggest you get a smaller one.
What did you do then?
I didn't think I'd need one. I started without one, and I lost my hand before I did need one. And you can see the result.
What do you mean by the concordance of dates exactly?
Don't worry about that. We already have them. They are written on the back of the message I just gave you. One last thing before you go. Be very careful. If you come across anyone, they can all potentially be spies of Mortimer or Holm. Don't ever confide in anyone because a demon can slip inside them at any moment.
Wait, not all of them though. Take Washington.
Especially Washington. He's been conditioned by Mortimer for years. Look at them, for crying out loud. How do you explain their behavior otherwise? The most influential politicians in the Western world gather together without the least protection, without a single aid to assist them, to participate in a conference during which the guests start dropping like flies. Me, Adams, Peru, Hillsborough. Look at the number of calamities that have happened over the past few days. And not one of them has asked to leave the island? Do you find that normal? You'll see. Go up to the manor to look for the keys, and I wager not one of them will speak to you about my being in Emily's room.
Do you think so?
Go on, you'll see. And come back with all the objects in one go. Time is against us. And remember, the code to get out of the secret office is 6466.
Let's see if I can work it out myself. It looks like a kind of control panel.
It looks like certain mechanisms I've seen before. I wouldn't be surprised if I had to put the claim of the third cross in it. There's a cross-shaped slot there. I'd say you've got to place the claim of the third cross in it.
You ought to go, Louis. If someone finds us here, the situation might well become seriously complicated.
What on earth is that? A disc with information engraved in the metal? An iris that should open, I imagine, and blood.
There are Roman numerals, Arab numbers, and town names.
Go on. I'm listening. What do you think?
Tell me, I imagine that once we've solved this enigma, the iris opens, right?
Exactly.
All the town names mentioned have something to do with Christ, haven't they? Golgotha, Bethlehem, Nazareth.
Exactly.
How many nails are needed again?
3.
One nail per type of information, I'm guessing.
In other words?
Well, a nail must be placed on each Roman numeral, one nail on an Arabic numeral, and one nail on a town.
Well done, Louis.
On each engraved piece of information, there's a hole. Those are for the nails, right?
That's absolutely right.
Did you succeed in opening this iris?
Yes, by putting the cross on the console and the 3 nails on the disc, the iris opens. It gives access to a hole where I put my hand, thinking I could fully open the iris. There's a handle at the bottom, and as you can see, it didn't turn out very well for me.
Mother? The dried blood. There.
Yes, it's mine. Sorry if I stained everything, but I must admit that at the time my thoughts were more on the pain than cleaning up after myself.
Pound. Permalite water will give me a little reprieve.
Sorry, sir, but Mr. Peru is not seeing visitors at the moment. He's resting, and is to see no one. Good luck.
Ah, Louis, come in. Your timing is impeccable. I wanted to have a word with you.
Oh, here we go.
I was wondering how you are getting on in your search for our poor Sarah. You must have made some progress, I should think. I am terribly worried about her, you know.
Come on, get out of here, Louis. You're in a hurry.
Any news of her?
I don't know why, Your Eminence, but I get the impression you're asking a question to which you already know the answer.
Let's say I have heard rumors, but I prefer to ask you the question directly.
Well, what have you heard exactly?
It would appear that your mother is implicated in the death of the Duchess's twin sister, and that as she tried to escape, apparently von Wollner heroically interposed, but after a fierce struggle, Sarah knocked him out.
My mother? And Volner? Fighting like two cats in a bag? You do recall that my mother is an old lady, Your Eminence, and yet you believe such hogwash? I'm surprised at you.
I'm only telling you what people are saying, Louis. I never said that I believed it. Oh, what a story, all the same. Twins! I was always wary of the Duchess anyway. I did not appreciate the facility with which she would flaunt her assets. You know, Louis, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I sense you are worried and that you are not telling me everything. What exactly did you come looking for in my room?
What do you mean?
Louis, I was not born yesterday, you know. When you came in, I saw in your face a hint of disappointment at finding me here. I concluded that you were hoping you wouldn't run into me. You came here for something else.
No. You're mistaken. I was just passing by. I shall leave you, Your Eminence. I wouldn't want to take up your time.
As you wish, Louis. See you later.
I have no time to lose, so I might as well not bother him. My dear Giuseppe, poor health forbids me from joining you. Please thank Sir Gregory for his invitation to Lord Mortimer's. I'm convinced you'll be able to strengthen our agreements. Please tell Sir Gregory that his enterprise concerning our friend Cardinal Bishop Chiaramonti is following its course. I place my trust in you. May God bless you and give you protection. SS Giovanni Angelico Braschi. John the Baptist, Youth with a Ram, by Caravaggio. A very sensual vision. Great, honey. Amber crystals. The Lying Girl by Boucher. Here's a painting of mischievous eroticism. I wonder what Piaggi must think of this. The Rape of the Daughters of Lucipis by Rubens. Surprising choice for His Eminence Piaggi. A Greek drachma, one of the rare ancient coins to be mentioned both in the Bible and in the Quran. Venus and Cupid with a Satyr by Correggio. Innocence, indiscretion, and lechery. Giuseppe must love that.
I have no time to lose, so I might as well not bother him.
Destruction of the Temple of Jerusalem by Francesco Hayez. The Roman destruction by Titus and his army. What violence! His Holiness Pope Pius VI by Pompeo Petoni. This should help Piaggio feel at home.
Ah, Louis. Glad you're here.
Blasted. He's gonna talk about my mother.
Come and see what I've found. There are pieces of paper in the ashes of the chimney. Someone's been burning something here.
Incredible. He doesn't seem to want to speak to me about what happened between my mother and the Hillsborough sisters. Show me a little.
Look, it's possible to distinguish two different writing styles.
The rest of the correspondence between my mother and Emma.
Someone tried to burn an exchange of messages. I'm certain there must be more.
Shit. What on earth is he doing? If you want my opinion, a servant must have burnt some old papers. That's all.
Why, of course. You very nearly made me think that you were trying to hide something, Louis. No, I'm sure there must be other hidden messages.
He won't let go. He's going to work his way back to the Bible if he continues.
Dante's Paradise. Raise your head and be reassured, for what comes up here from the mortal world must ripen in our rays.
The Bible's still there.
A chest with the occult symbol representing air.
Hey, look, there.
No, I don't see anything.
Come, Louis, look. Someone's clearly drawn a 4 in the dust. I have a clue.
He's going to be disappointed when he sees the Bible's disappeared. An armillary sphere. Perfect. That will save me some time. I only hope that he isn't going to realize it right away.
This time, it'll be a lot quicker. If I remember rightly, the code was 1191. Of course. Feathers, pigeons probably. There! Those are the nails I was looking for. I noticed they were old and rusty, but I hadn't noticed these traces of... Could that be blood? Is it really the relic of the Holy Cross? I can hardly believe it. All right, come on, let's get out of here. 6466, if I remember correctly. Right. Let's see if the statues are in place yet. That statue is not positioned correctly. Open sesame. So that's the exegesis of Judas. I hope Mortimer doesn't read it very often, otherwise he's going to notice that someone's stolen it. But that's just too bad. I need it. So that's Pandora's box? An urn? Mother seemed worried that I was able to open it. I wonder why. Never mind. Now it's too late. The Ring of the Nibelungs. Even if Mortimer is several centuries old, I don't see what part he has in this legend. Right. I've got what I need. Now let's not waste any more time. Given the size of that armillary sphere, I'm really glad I found a smaller one.
So, good. You've managed to gather all the keys.
Yes, that's right. I have everything. What should I start with?
Place the Clement III cross on the console. Then you have to put the nails on the disc of the door.
What theme did you start with?
As the fresco shows the birth of Christ, I placed one nail in Bethlehem, one in chapter 2, and one in verse 6. The iris opened a little. I thought it was normal. Behind the aperture of the iris, there is a duct in which I put my hand. I felt something like a valve at the bottom. I thought by turning it the door would open, or the iris would open completely, or something else would happen. Instead, I felt something like an axe cut off my hand. I really thought it was the end of me.
What did you do then?
Well, although I had made some unfortunate choices, I was lucky in that Mortimer was well stocked with drugs. I raided his supplies of medicine.
What hole should I put the nails in?
Well, I can't really advise you there, because I haven't exactly made the best choices myself. All I can say is that you have to insert one to choose a town, one to choose a chapter, and one to choose a verse.
All right, my turn now.
Go ahead, impress me. I'll shut up and let you concentrate.
The fresco clearly shows the birth of Christ.
Louis, I can assure you that that is not the solution to this enigma. This fresco's only purpose is to mislead. I know that now. Please, focus on another theme about Christ.
We'll have to trust her. Yes, it's definitely a representation of the birth of Christ, but some of the details have flaked away. I can't see any other clues. One thing is for sure, this enigma deals with the life of Jesus, like my mother said. You could see that the paint has come off in parts. Difficult to see what was there, but I can distinguish the letters N-R-I. Nothing more. Why, of course, they're part of the initials I-N-R-I that you can find on the cross of Jesus at his crucifixion. If Mortimer deliberately set a trap by showing the birth of Christ, then maybe the solution is the contrary. The death of Christ in that case? This exegesis contains comments from Judas on the different Gospels. It only contains certain chapters and verses, and the chapters are indicated by Roman numerals. The lexicon refers to different chapters and verses from the exegesis of Judas. Chapter 19, verse 17. Jesus was crucified on the 8th of Nisan, 3793, in a place near Jerusalem. The Romans put a crown of thorns on his head. Chapter 19, verse 17. And he, bearing his cross, went forth into a place called the place of a skull, which is called in the Hebrew Golgotha, where they crucified him, and 2 others with him, on either side, and Jesus in the midst. It looks like there are 3 types of inscriptions. There are 3 styles of writing, and I've got 3 nails. There must be a link. I must surely put in 1 nail per category. These towns have one thing in common. They're all related to the life and death of Jesus. For example, Jordan is the place of the baptism of Christ. It works.
Well done, Louis. I hadn't seen those other wheels. Try connecting the theme to see if it goes all the way.
There must surely be a connection between the wheels. There are different icons on this wheel, but it looks like some of them can't be connected to the other wheels. Now, given the difference between the number of icons and the number of towns, I think that only one path connects all the wheels with one another. Let's try to connect the theme I've chosen with the rest.
Mother, what do you think?
As I told you, I didn't get that far. Nevertheless, these icons do represent moments in the life of Christ.
I think I can make out each one of the icons apart from the one covered in blood. Going clockwise from the one I just mentioned, we have the halo that represents the resurrection. The waves represent the baptism of Jesus. It's more difficult to identify the next one. Maybe a crib, and in that case it's surely linked to the birth of Christ. The red herring that my mother followed. Then, the symbol represents the crown of thorns that Jesus wore during his crucifixion. The dove also represents the baptism. Certainly another red herring. Then comes the symbol of the Trinity. And finally, the candle that must stand for the Last Supper. Chapter 14, verse 22. On the 7th of Nisan, 3793, Jesus shared his Last Supper in the Cenacle in Jerusalem. Chapter 14, verse 22. And as they did eat, Jesus took bread and blessed and broke it, and gave to them and said, "Take, eat. This is my body." And he took the cup, and when he'd given thanks, he gave it to them, and they all drank of it.
I can feel the lever at the bottom.
Good luck. I never doubted you, my son.
I sense that Mr. Peru is about to surprise us too.
I believed in him. I followed him to the best of my ability. I championed his ideas, defended his decisions, and then, without even realizing it, I became lost.
Now that I've told you everything, you want to take my place, do you? No. I am Emily. You are wasting your time. Louis knows very well how to tell us apart.
Someone had the bang coming from the Duchess's room, and she isn't answering.
Louis, you really must learn to conceal your weaknesses better, if you don't want your foes to use them against you.
Our desire is to steer the destiny of our respective countries for the good of all, and to no longer suffer the random hazards of history.
It is the natural order of things, Monsieur de Richet. There have always been men who govern other men. That is simply the way it is.
History forgets them with a disconcerting facility. No one speaks about them, and yet they whisper in the ears of kings and presidents. But where are we?
I don't know, but we better not hang around. Be careful, Mother. As if me saying that will make any difference. Knowing Mortimer, I wouldn't be surprised if he rigged his crypt with traps.
So you think the door is not enough?
Do you want to wager your other hand?
You've got a point there. We have to find that weapon. What do you know about the Holy Lance, Louis?
The what?
The lance of Longinus the Centurion.
Yes, the centurion that pierced the side of Christ with his lance. That weapon naturally became a holy relic.
Exactly.
Seriously? You don't really believe that fable, do you?
Every fable is founded on true events. I'm not saying that everything adds up, but imagine if it really did exist.
Very well. Now what?
Well, now you know what you need to find.
Pardon?
I have to get to the wharf to prepare our departure. Let's get off this cursed island as quickly as we can. We shall come back when we are ready and armed.
But hang on.
Louis, let's first get to safety. We shall come back when we have the upper hand. Fear not. You take care of getting the lance. It's imperative. I'll take care of preparing our departure.
Hang on. At least tell me everything you know about this lance.
But I have never seen it. There's nothing.